Let me take you to a small, forgotten village nestled between the misty mountains of southern Europe, a village called Velgrad. Today, it is but a name on crumbling maps. Its homes are consumed by crawling ivy, and nature has reclaimed every street. But in its quiet, inanimate heart remains a structure, a church, old and stoic, but with a sinister secret, a bell that has not rung for over 2 centuries, but not because it lacks the means. Oh no, the bell is intact. Its rope hangs, teasing gravity, and yet silence reigns. The story first surfaced in 1823, when Velgrad still thrummed with life. It was a modest village, little more than a collection of houses surrounding the Gothic church. This particular church was more remarkable for its age than grandeur, its spire cutting into the heavens with quiet defiance. It wasn't the architectural design or its carvings that stirred whispers in the surrounding hamlets. It was the bell, its eerie silence, and the chilling tale behind it. The bell, forged in the mid-1600s, was nothing less than a masterpiece, meticulously shaped from bronze and silver, with intricate engravings of saints and symbols of protection. It was said to have the blessing of a journeying monk, a holy relic meant to guard the village from disaster. In fact, locals believed that the bell did far more than summon them to prayer. It repelled ill fate, discouraged sickness, and shielded the town from storms. For decades, it tolled happily, presiding over births, weddings, and festivals, and mourning alongside its people during funerals. But one fateful day in early autumn, all of that changed. The story goes as follows. A traveler, ragged, mud-splattered, and clearly desperate, arrived in Velgrad one crisp September evening. He carried little more than a small sack and an unsettling aura. No one knew his name, and his foreign tongue and piercing, unblinking stare bred distrust. Yet the good-hearted priest opened the church to him, offering warmth and bread. Church records, now scorched around the edges, refer to this man only as the Stranger. According to the entries, during his first night in Velgrad, villagers saw him wandering under the silver light of the moon, pressing his palms against the church walls, murmuring in tongues unknown. Even less fathomable were the claw-like symbols villagers claimed he etched into the wood of the pews. Insignificant at first glance, but growing sinister by morning. By the end of his 3rd day, fear had solidified in the collective heart of Velgrad. Mothers clutched their children tighter, animals growled into the night, and faint weeping echoed through the air for reasons no one could pinpoint. Yet the stranger remained in the church, his presence tolerated by the priest, but reviled by all others. Legend holds that on the 7th day after the stranger appeared, things began to unravel in horrific ways. Cattle were found lifeless in their stables, their eyes a glossy white. 3 villagers succumbed overnight to fevers hotter than the fire, and food stores seemingly spoiled faster than natural decay allowed. An unnatural chill swept the village, despite the season still being autumn. And on that fateful night, the bell rang 3 deafening times at the stroke of midnight, but there was no one in the belfry, or so they said. The villagers, driven by panic, rushed to confront the priest. Accounts suggest the stranger denied ringing the bell, his defense laced with chilling laughter. But with tensions as high as they were, certainty became irrelevant. He was dragged out into the square, accused of cursing the bell, and stoned to death by those who once prided themselves on charity. The lifeless body was buried beneath the church, its resting place marked only by rumors and forbidden tales, whispered by the pyres. The bell, now tarnished in spirit, rang no more, even when tugged insistently by trembling hands. Days crept into years, and the stranger's curse, whether imagined or real, lingered. Velgrad suffered storms like none they had encountered before. The harvests failed year after year. People left in droves until eventually Velgrad's streets fell to silence. The final remaining family, records call them the Petty family, departed in 1876. But here's the strange thing. Investigators entered Velgrad in the early 1900s to collect artifacts from the abandoned village. And there it was, the bell, untouched, with vines draped lovingly around its engravings. It should have rung beautifully with one pull. And yet, when investigators attempted to strike it, it refused vibrancy. Not a single sound emerged. A priest, braver or more arrogantly skeptical than most, stayed one night in 1937 to confront whatever force lingered there. According to his journal, which was recovered nearby, he witnessed unnatural flickers of light circling the church walls. Then, a rhythmic sound at exactly 3:33 a.m., the unmistakable toll of a church bell, though faint and mournful. He left the village long before sunrise and never returned. Over the years, urban explorers, journalists, and paranormal enthusiasts made fleeting and frightened pilgrimages to Velgrad. Some come away describing their inability to breathe properly near the church. Many claim their recording equipment ceases to function entirely within those walls. Unsurprisingly, none of these theories quench curiosity, but instead feed its flames. An academic theory suggests the stranger was condemned unfairly, that the cursed calamities of Velgrad were the result of bad harvests, pestilence brought unintentionally by traders, and human hysteria amplified by nighttime imaginations. But skepticism does little to explain why locals still whisper about shadowy figures glimpsed through half-shuttered windows, or faint, metallic humming emanating out of the bell's direction on a full moon night. 2 centuries later, the bell still hangs resolutely inside its tower, silent, heavy like guilt. Ghost stories aside, there's an eerie authenticity within Velgrad's frozen ruins that words simply cannot describe. The vines do not strangle the key parts of the belfry. Even nature is strangely reverent in preserving this enigma. So what would you do, given the chance? Would you dare pull at the rope dangling in the Black Cloak bell tower and break the decades-long silence? Or do you fear what answer the sound might bring? In Velgrad, silence is not peace. Silence is the haunting that never sleeps.